Devlin sat up with a rueful expression on his face. He miscalculated and totally misjudged the woman staring down at him. He held up his hands in a gesture of surrender and stood up. Ms. Michaels, I really am in a jam, and I really do need a safe place to spend the night. I'll sleep right here on the floor, and you don't even have to give me a blanket. I know it's an imposition, but I wouldn't ask if I haven't tried all other resources, he explained. Welcome back, friends. I hope you're doing well. If you are enjoying the story so far, please like, share, and subscribe. Now let's get back to the story. Chastity came toward him and he stepped back. She walked past him and went into her bedroom. A few minutes later, she returned wearing a robe matching the creation underneath. She fixed him a curious stare. Look, before I say anything, I want one question answered. How did you know where I live? Devlin smiled sheepishly. I sort of got it from Dr. Kinney. Chastity crossed her arms. He would never give out my address. What do you mean by sort of? All right, I confess. We were talking and he mentioned that you didn't live too far from his office, and I talked him into giving me directions. I went into 3 other buildings before I found the right one. Mr. Wade, I wish I could appreciate your dilemma, but I don't know you well enough to let you stay here. I have every right to refuse, and I'm sure there are people you have overlooked if you really think about it. I can let you use my phone to make a few calls, but that's all I'm willing to do. Mr. Wade shook his head. I assure you that I've called everyone I could think of, but unfortunately they are also mutual friends of my ex and me. I promise you that it will be just this night. In the morning, I'm going to see an agent for an apartment. Come on, what do you say? Chastity knew she was asking for trouble, and she knew that Devlin Wade was more trouble than she could handle. But her gut told her that he was telling the truth. Besides, she was sure he wouldn't try anything given the little taste she gave him. Okay, but on several conditions. 1, you stay just this night, and 2, you forget my address, and 3, no one is to know that I put you up. Is that clear? His smile widened. Done, done and done, he agreed. There was an awkward silence where they just stared at each other until Chastity told him that the couch pulls out into a bed. He nodded and told her that he had to go to his car for something. She opened the door for him and then went in search of bed linen for him, second-guessing herself the whole time. He returned with a small overnight bag. Chaz looked at it and raised her eyebrows. I always keep this in the car. I'm always away on business, he explained. She pointed to the sheets on one end of the couch. All you have to do is make your bed and you're set. He looked at them and frowned. You didn't expect me to make it for you, did you? She walked away when he started to comply. She picked up her wine glass and headed toward her kitchen. She lingered there to gather her thoughts. It hit somewhere between gathering the bed linen and the couch that she was allowing the man to spend the night in her house. Devlin Wade had made the couch up when she joined him. He even turned down the sheet invitingly. He had also changed into a pair of pajama pants and t-shirt. Well, I think I'll say good night, Mr. Wade. She turned to leave. Aren't you even curious about what happened? He asked. She stopped and faced him once more. I am, but it's none of my business. It was killing her to say that because she was curious as hell. I don't mind telling you. I just hope you won't judge me too harshly. He sat down on the bed and she sat on the single chair facing him. Nicole and I met while I was still in school. We got on well, and it was convenient to move in together too. We were struggling, and she insisted that she work to help pay the bills. When I graduated and started my business, I returned the favor. Things went smoothly for us. She started her business and life went on. We sort of fell into a routine. We both knew the end was near, but her family expected us to marry. So I proposed and she went crazy. She didn't feel we needed to change anything. He snorted. She started throwing things when I mentioned that I would like to have children one day. She didn't want to marry you or have children? Asked Chaz. Devlin shook his head. No. I thought I'd give her some time before I asked again, and when I did, she threatened to take me to court. I called her bluff, and next thing I knew, her father filed, and the rest is social media history. Tonight, at the restaurant, I was trying to sweet-talk her into letting me sleep at the apartment. She threw me to the wolves when we got there. She got the Benz, the penthouse, and everything in it. I fought to keep my business intact. So now, Ms. Michaels, you know the story. Chaz mulled over his story and shrugged. I can't say anything about how the court treated you, but I don't understand why she wouldn't marry you. I mean, you've lived together for a long time, So what difference does a piece of paper make? That was my point exactly, he agreed. Maybe she wasn't into you as you were into her. Chaz lifted her hand. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. You're right, I guess. Chastity got up and murmured goodnight and entered her room. She automatically reached over to press the button on the phone alarm and sat up. Chaz was surprised that she slept. She tossed and turned, worrying over the man sleeping in her living room. Pushing hair out of her face, she got up and rushed to get ready for her morning run. She tiptoed out of the apartment, very aware of the man sleeping on her couch. She glanced at him and wished she hadn't. He had taken off his top, and his bare chest looked so inviting. She almost ran trying to get out. She prayed that he would be gone when she got back. Devlin awoke to the sound of a door shutting. He wasn't sure if it was the bedroom or front door. He was too tired and sleepy to care, and fell back to sleep. He spent most of the night reliving the evening's events. How she looked when she opened the door. How she looked when she got angry. She was a very beautiful woman. He wondered why she was alone, and how upset he felt if she did have someone. It was almost time to get up, and he wished he knew how he could prolong his stay just a bit. He wanted to know how she looked first thing in the morning. Whoa, get a hold of yourself, man. Nicole isn't even out the door yet, and you're curious about another woman, he chided himself. He sat up an hour later. There wasn't going to be much more sleeping for him. Devlin stretched and stood up and stretched some more. If he took his shower first, there would be a chance of seeing Chastity before she got all dolled up. He hated when Nicole rushed to apply makeup first thing in the morning. He wanted to see Chastity's true self before she put on all that makeup. He picked up his top and slung it over his shoulder and headed for what he hoped was the bath. Devlin made sure he was in there a good half hour to give her time enough to wake up. It was pretty early yet, and he didn't know what time she would be up. When he came out, he listened outside her door to hear if there was any movement. When he didn't hear anything, he checked the kitchen. Good, she was still asleep, he thought. He got dressed and made up the couch, folding the bed linen neatly. A soft click behind him made him face the door. Chastity was just coming in. He smiled. She looked wonderful, so it wasn't makeup that gave her that glow. I thought you were still in bed, he said. I run most morning, she answered. She was sweaty and her hair was windblown. She wasn't counting on him being up when she got back, just gone. Well, good morning, Ms. Michaels. I hope your run went well. I guess you really do all those things you said I should do. Good morning. If you don't mind, I'd like to get showered. She hurried past him to her room. She got a whiff of him. He must have showered. He smelled good. An hour later, she came out freshly showered and composed. She thought he'd gone, but he was in her kitchen, and from the aroma coming out of there, cooking. The man certainly knew how to make himself at home, she thought. She sat meekly at the table to watch him. He was making omelets. He seemed to know his way around a kitchen, and for now, she'd be nice. I thought you drowned or something. I figured if I wanted to eat anything, that I'd better cook, he said with a big smile on his face. It smells wonderful, she replied. And you look absolutely gorgeous in that apron, she thought privately, bringing a flush to her face. I hope you don't mind. I just wanted to thank you for your hospitality. I owe you one, he stated and sat down facing her to eat. I doubt I'll need a place to stay, but I'd like the recipe to this omelet. It's delicious. He blushed. Aw, shucks, ma'am, 'twarn't nothing, he drawled. Chaz laughed aloud and he fell silent. She was too much, and if he didn't leave soon, he might start something they may both regret. He cleared his throat and got up with his plate and took the apron off. I hope you don't mind the dishes. I called my real estate agent, and he has a few places for me to look at. So, Ms. Michaels, this is goodbye. I hope to see you on Monday at the fitness center. She watched him leave and looked down at her empty plate. She deftly cleared up and washed the dishes, then went into the living room. He was still there, standing by the stereo, looking at the pictures on her wall. His back was to her, and she fought the urge to put her arms around him. Instead, she went to stand beside him. I was 10 years old and very proud of my pony, she told him. You must have had a great childhood if you had a pony, he said, facing her. Didn't every little girl have one? She asked teasingly. He didn't say anything. He just leaned over to place a soft kiss on her lips. Thank you, Chastity Michaels, for everything. He turned, picked up his bag, and walked out the door. Chaz couldn't move. She didn't know how it happened, but if she wasn't careful, She could very easily fall deep for that man. She groaned and shook herself. It was still the weekend, and she had plans. She modified them to go to the center. She had excess energy to burn. She was using the leg machine when a man came over to show her how to use it properly. She thanked him and quickly left. She entered the center with a smile on her face, and Debbie followed her into her office. "You look like you had a nice weekend," she began. "Someone had a very boring weekend, and I'm so glad this place exists. How was yours?" "Sean and I had a nice weekend, and we went ring shopping," Debbie replied, holding up her ring left hand. Chaz whistled. "Wow, now that's what I call a ring." "I know, and I just don't know what to do with myself. The firm made Sean an offer, and this is what his sign-on bonus got us. We haven't got the official word yet, but Sean's boss insisted that they make him an offer before anyone else." "Oh my God, Chaz. I'm going to be a wife, and my husband will be working as a lawyer for one of the most prestigious firms in New York." Chastity hugged her, and they jumped and screeched together. "I'm so happy for you. Whenever you're ready, let me know how I can help you." "You're my maid of honor, Chaz. That's all I want from you." "I never doubted it once." Debbie went back to her desk, and Chaz grinned at her back. "Michael's Fitness, how may I help you?" "Chaz, is that you?" "Dr. Kinney, how are you? I was going to call you last night." "I'm fine, dear." "While I got you on the line, I want to thank you again for the client you sent last week. He signed and should be starting today, I think." "Yes, that's who I was calling about. I wanted to apologize if he'd caused you any trouble. I sort of gave him the impression that you were available. I thought it was a good idea at the time, but since that court thing, I don't think you should get involved." "He wasn't much trouble, Doc, and don't worry about me. I'm a big girl and I can take care of myself. Now, when are you going to start relaxing and get some help at the office?" she asked with genuine concern. "I'm way ahead of you on that. I've got a nice young assistant all the women go crazy for. He's working out nicely," he replied. "Great. I should make an appointment so I could check out this young stud. What do you think?" "He's not your type, but don't worry, I'll keep an eye out for you. It was nice talking with you, Chaz. Hope to see you soon." "Goodbye, dear." "Goodbye, Doc." She hung up and Debbie walked in with a stack of invoices she could have sworn she'd already seen. But she grabbed them as if they were a lifeline. She needed something to keep her mind occupied. Devlin was sitting with his nutritionist just a few doors from Chastity's office and bored out of his mind. He understood that he would have to go on this regimen and was expected to follow it to the letter if he wanted to get his cholesterol down and weight back on track. What he really would like to be doing is kissing a certain raven-haired woman who seems to have no attraction to him whatsoever. He wondered if he got himself into shape, if she'd notice him then. The nutritionist gave him a folder, and he hadn't the foggiest notion what he was supposed to do with it. But he nodded and smiled and stood up when he realized that the session was over. He had to be more careful, he mused. His attention span had recently dwindled down to a child's. He was fascinated as well as fearful he was asking for trouble. Chastity Michaels was very different from Nicole. He stood in the hall wondering what he was supposed to be doing next when the woman who has been occupying his every waking thought lately came out of her office. She started and then smiled. "Hello, Ms. Michaels," he said. "Good afternoon, Mr. Wade. You've been to see the nutritionist?" "Yes, and I have no idea what's next on my itinerary. I left it in the car." "That's an easy fix. Just go to my office and ask for a copy from the receptionist." He smiled again. "Thank you. I should have thought of that." She murmured something and walked away. He watched her back until she turned a corner. A few minutes later with Debbie, he had a copy of his schedule, and after sifting through it, found that he was through for the day. He could go to the pool and swim a few laps or go to the exercise rooms and work his frustrations out there. There wasn't much choice, he thought. Either way, he was sure that one Chastity Michaels was going to stay fixed in his mind. Chast was furious with herself. Devlin Wade was just a man and nothing more. Why was she hiding from him and in her own place of business? This was so silly. She had to admit that she was attracted to him, and she realized that he was attracted to her too. However, the timing is wrong, and he was just coming out of a long-term relationship. Besides, her business was still in its infancy. She needed to focus on it. She didn't need any distractions now. With that as motivation, she came out of the ladies and hurried to her office. She sank into the safety of her leather chair at her desk and took deep breaths. Well, that's it for now. Comment what you'd do in this situation. Come back for more. Please like, share, and subscribe.